All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. And double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who as well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Ainal. The title of this video is Immigration Raid in Tallahassee. Right? And basically, Esau Edom, coming down with that great wrath upon our people. We're in the beginning stages of Jacob's trouble. Here's a video. Or matter of fact, let me grab this. Revelation 12 and 12. It says, therefore rejoice. And therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Right? So, we're in that time. The scriptures say he measured out the time, diligently in itself. Right? So you have to know, what's going on around you. The scriptures also talk about being circumspect, right? Just being aware.
A major immigration raid in Tallahassee today. Homeland Security's Tampa office sharing on X about an hour ago that they arrested over 100 people at a construction site in Collegetown.
HSI saying they are from countries like Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Colombia. The raid happening about 9 o'clock this morning. WCTV has had crews on scene all day. Our Abrea Ruffin is there for us right now and joins us live. Abrea, what do we know?
Julie, Jacob, we now know that some of the detainees have been deported before, and officials say some have criminal backgrounds. More than 50 FHP troopers assisted in today's raid. They lined up dozens of construction workers at a check-in table to see who was here legally and who was not. An emotional scene for many watching. Some saw their loved ones loaded onto a bus in cuffs and carried off. We spoke with one woman whose husband called her this morning scared as agents stormed the site.
Morning about 8:56, my husband calls me. They're working on the building right there behind us, and says that immigration had the building surrounded. I heard ladders coming up. They were pulling ladders up. All of them are scared. I told him to sit down and wait. Don't fight with them.
Parrish says they have 5 kids, and now she doesn't know when their dad will be coming home. She stood at the fence earlier crying and begging agents to tell her where her husband was being taken. She now knows that he has been detained. She says this is the second time her husband has been taken into ICE custody. He bonded out in 2019. She says that they're still waiting on his full citizenship paperwork. Reporting in Tallahassee, Abrea Ruffin, WCTV Eyewitness News.
All right, Abrea Ruffin for us this evening. Thank you.
A spokesperson for the construction company working that site says they verify their employees using the required E-Verify system. Hedrick Brothers Construction also says they require all subcontractors to follow that same standard. We're working to find out more about the subcontractors that may have had employees on site today.
And while on scene, we saw a white bus pull up and agents loading people in zip ties on board. Homeland Security will not comment on exactly how many people were detained or where those buses were headed. LCSO confirms several other detainees with pending criminal charges were taken to the Leon County Jail.
Jeremiah 46 and 27. It says, but fear not thou, O my servant Jacob, and be not dismayed, O Israel, for behold, I will save thee from afar off, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return and be in rest and at ease, and none shall make him afraid. Fear thou not, O Jacob, my servant, says the Lord Yahweh, for I am with thee, for I will make a full end of all the nations, whether I have driven thee, but I will not make a full end of thee, but correct thee in measure, yet will I not leave thee wholly unpunished, right? So we understand that we was given, right, to the hand of our enemies, right, for our sins against our father, right? But Esau showed us no mercy. Let me grab that. All right, Isaiah, I got Isaiah 47. Right, and then on top of that, I guess I have to look more into it, but a lot of these immigrants were let in, open border policy by these same devils, right? That's now trying to kick them out. Right, and they're not sending them back to their home. They're sending them to these detention centers and things, Families trying to figure out, where their loved ones at and all of that. This is Isaiah 47:1. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Right, this is talking about America. It says, sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Right, so the horns of this devil is coming out. Right, the horns are being shown. Just like I said, let me grab that real quick. believe it's 17. Not 17, probably 13. Right. This is Revelations 13:11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth." Right. It's talking about America. It says, "And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Right. And we understand that America is the revived Roman Empire. Right. Just like the Roman Empire had two horns, and those two horns would be the two parties. Back then, you had the plebeians and the patricians. Right. And now the revised Roman Empire, you have the Democrat in a Republic Party, right? And this is known, right? It is known that through all the presidents, whoever may be, Obama, George Bush, Biden, now Trump, whatever the case may be, the world is knowing that the same, policies and whatnot is being pushed. The same agenda is being pushed, right? And that information is coming out more now by America's enemies, right? They're saying, basically since the beginning of time, they've been trying to have world dominance, that being America, right? Because America is the hub of these banking elites who control and run the world. The scriptures in Job 9:24 said the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? The wicked is is Esau, the so-called white man, right? And the head of that will be the tribe of the Amalekites, right? And that tribe is the JWOs, right? The banking families are the JWOs. They run the world. Right, and their agenda is to control and take over everything, right? And take peace from the earth and go out and make war, and that's what they do. So it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon, right? So you have the Democrat and the Republic Party, right? So he had two horns like a lamb, as in he's coming with okay, well, you can vote for this party, or you can vote for that party. We got separate views and different things like that. So whatever you want as a people, you can vote for that person, when really the presidents are selected, not elected, right? Pretty much. But something too, they got to be backed by the people. That's why you have what is it? I forgot what it was, but anyway, they lie to you. You got to be backed by the people, but they lie to you. So let me grab this. This is Psalms 58, and maybe I might remember it. Psalms 58 and 3 real quick. They got to be back. Yeah, they got to be backed by the people, because they have things like impeachment and things like that. So now if the people is like not with you, it's like, okay, we don't want this nigga here no more, whatever the case may be. So anyway, so they lie to you to get backed by the people to be put in office. So the banking elites, you can go on and on. The banking elites, they give you these two people you can choose from, or however many ever you pick one. But at the end of the day, the banking elites control these people. And then the people, the presidents, I'm saying, they lie to the people to make them more liked. Because, of course, being president comes with benefits. Probably from the banking elites might rub elbows with you, whatnot. Who knows? Psalms 83, it says the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies, right? So the wicked is currently ruling and running the world, and they're lying to these people, deceiving the people, right? So that's what's happening right there. So he had two horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon, and the dragon is going to those draconian measures, right? And you have a lot of people coming out talking about, these raids, as in, I thought you was going to get rid of, the violent criminals and gangs and things like that. And even that you can look into, because niggas for the most part kill each other. They kill each other. Niggas really don't do much. There's been an increase in store robberies and things like that, because this is what Esau Edom is forwarding, right? But for the most part, niggas just do nigga shit to each other, right? When it comes to the white man, yeah, they don't really step to him like that, in most cases, most instances, but a lot of times they do. Anyway, so those speak as a dragon is going to his draconian measures, these executive orders, that Trump is signing and things like that, harsh decrees. Pretty soon, right now, they have Guantanamo and Bay, right? But how you got to fill those things up, right? And then the people that's supposed to be building these, I guess, prisons, things like that, or who would build them, are the same people that you're locking up, right? So it's going to come down the line where, maybe the firing squads the guillotines, which will come, because that's a part of Jacob's trouble. Trump has signed executive orders on that. I believe even the first guy, and I believe it's South Carolina, got the firing squad. That's something you can search up on Google, right? And that was done by Nero Trump. Trump is Nero, right? So anyway, those are the draconian measures. All right, so let me grab over here again. Anyway, Isaiah 47:1 says, "Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take millstone and grind meal, uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yet thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man." Right? So the shame of Esau, Edom, right, is being shown to the world and to the nations. Right? And now they're bucking up against America, basically, So, for a long time, America has been the bully of the world. The nations kind of just sat back, let America do what they do. But now, because all this information is coming out against them, they're standing up. They're seeing the wickedness that's been committed. You got the Gaza Strip, the biolab in Ukraine, bursting of pipes, cutting off gas lines to nations and people. Right, all of these different things. It says, "As for our Redeemer, the Lord Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel." So our Redeemer is Yahushua, right? We're waiting on Yahushua to return and do away with these devils, right? And now put them into servitude. It says, "Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms." Right, and that's the case now. I just did a video yesterday, where these nations are saying America is no longer that guy. America is no longer, that the person, the man or whatnot, because these other nations have also achieved what America has achieved, right? Nuclear missiles, a booming economy and things like that. That's why you see these tariffs on China is backfiring, right? It's no longer working. It's working to some extent because we, the American people here in America, we have been groomed to consume. We buy and buy and buy. You sure got shit like Hoarders. You go in a bitch house, they got everything in there. They just got shit, just hoarding it, That's the American people. They eat fast food, they buy stuff, so all these other nations, they be making the stuff. A lot of our stuff comes from China. China make the stuff and we just buy it, right? It's crazy. So anyway, it says, "Sit thou silent and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms," right? So America's at its end, right? And that's what we're saying. We're just seeing Esau come down with great wrath, and we're going to continue to prophesy against this devil. It's simple as that. We're going to keep prophesying until this nigga is taken out the way. All right, we're just going to keep doing it. This Jeremiah 28 and 18. Wait, hold on. Let me see. Yeah, Jeremiah 28, it says, "The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence." Right, so we are those prophets coming back, right? We have been called, right, into this ministry to do just that, to prophesy against, of course, our own people who's wicked as hell, and these devils, right, who's wicked, right, and the heathen also. Right, and I just, I put a little separation there because Esau is going to be completely destroyed away, but because he is the wicked, right? So-called white man is the wicked. The rest of these nations, the heathen, the Chinese, which are Moab, you got Ishmael, like the Arab and things like that. These heathen will be in the kingdom forever, just like our kingdom will be forever. They will be in the kingdom forever, but in subjection to the ruling class people, which are and will always be the Israelites. So we're prophesying against this devil, Let me go back to where I was at. It says, "I was wroth with my people, I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand, and thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke." Right, so bondage, right? We was brought here, put into slavery by our enemies, right, through the power of Yahweh Bashmi Shah, because, we went against him. But Esau, Edom, being the devil that he is, showed no mercy, right? And even now, sending these individuals to Guantanamo and Bay and and all of that, instead of just sending them back home, and separating families. And that's what they did in slavery too. They will, separate us, a woman to have whatever children, and they'll sell them off to someone else and things like that. These are the wicked. And even and he's doing that now, even today, because he took the woman, right, of the Israelite man. He took the woman and boosted her up, allowed her to, I guess, get a decent job, gave her benefits to the fact where she can say that she doesn't need a man because the government assistant programs and things like that. And basically she separated families, but Esau allowed her to do that, because whatever the case may be. And she took the bait and she ran with it, right? She was happy with it, for the most part. So yeah. They laid those heavy burdens on us, and they showed no mercy. And like I said, like I'm going into now, they're doing the same thing now as they have always been doing. They're being the devil, and those horns are starting now to show, right? And that's why the man of lawlessness, of course, needs to be revealed. And I'll go back to the scriptures I was going to forget. We just prophesying against this devil. We're going to keep doing this every day, every hour of the day. Hey, Esau, wake up. And he got problems everywhere. Brothers is putting up videos all times of the day, and then you got the everyday regular American putting up videos talking about what's going on. The American dream is dead. They're trying to get together, and that's why Job 20. Let me see what that says. Every hand of the wicked gonna come up against us. Let me use Job 20. No, I don't think this. Oh. Yeah, Job 20 and 22, it says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in scrapes. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him, right? In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in scrapes, which is difficulty, a hard time. Bro, look at Trump. Go watch the news. Look at Trump. Trump is always, this is not our war. It should never happen. If I was in place, blah, 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 bullshit, right? It's over for these devils, right? They have nothing. They won't get nothing. The only thing they got coming to them is World War III. And they're in, So this hand wicked goes into laborer. Right? The word here.
Strong's H 6001. A male.
For our male, so it goes into laborer, workman. Then it says toiling. Right, so that's the same people that's working. Right, you got your your upper class, your middle class, and your lower class. We know the upper class is super rich. They're trying to do away with the middle class, and it'd be like the lower class. So the lower class people is going to come against Esau, Edom, right? And pretty much it's going to be their own people, right? What does it say here in Isaiah 19? Isaiah 19 and 2, it says, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian. Right, so this is American against American, right? And it's talking about Esau, Edom against Esau, Edom, right? And they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Hey, look at those Tesla trucks and shit like that. Jake's ain't destroying them. Jake's not destroying the Tesla cars. Jake's is buying them things, putting rims on them, putting the flashy colors on it, and just sliding through the city. I seen a drop top Tesla truck. Who you think was in that? It was Jake, right? You got these Edomites burning the buildings, spray painted, Nazi and all of that extra stuff. Jake don't really care about none of that. Jake out here having a good old time, about to be destroyed, don't even know it. We wanted him too, It says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. So, hey, Esau Edom is tapping into that left-hand source to try to dig himself out of the hole that Donald Trump believes himself to be put in now, right? That's why I keep saying, oh, I didn't do this, And he's that cruel Lord. It says, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them. Said the Lord, how will Bashmiel shall who? So that's Donald Trump. Donald Trump is that cruel Lord. He's moving past judges. He don't care what the judges talk about. He talking about sending the judges to court, things like that. That's that cruel Lord. Hey, and it's even there. The people, You know, the people talking about it, they saying this dude is ruling like a king, right? And all of that. So it's there, right? The feeling, the vibe of what the scriptures talking about is there, right? And these are prophecies, and the men of the Lord are bringing it out. So that man of lawlessness, that's him. He's been revealed, right? That's why people can so easily say, hey, he's ruling like a king, you know, and all of that. But the prophets are here to let you know, yeah, it's true. Go to Isaiah 19, get a verse 4, and there you go, you know. So this man of lawlessness, Esau Edom is being revealed in his time, in his day. Second Thessalonians 2 and 3, it says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Right? The son of perdition who's to be destroyed. Right? Esau Edom is going to be revealed, and he's going to ultimately be destroyed. Right? And for a long time, people was kind of just under the spell, because after the Roman Empire fell, right, and then it came back again during the Renaissance period, you know, people just wonder after, right, Esau Edom, you know, follow his ways. The whole world followed the you know, just America, right? The whole image of America, the American dream and all of that, right? But now he's been revealed to be a fucking devil, and everyone's seeing it, and they're upset. That's good. So let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called God, right? And that's why I don't care when I say this devil's going to die. He's going to have nothing. He's going to be happy. You know, that's what we're telling Paul Schwab, that he's about to go into slavery, him and his whole family, because he's, you know, opposing himself against Yahweh, right? It says, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called God or that is worship, so that he as God stood in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Right? Scriptures say, let me see if I can find it, you know, because when, so let me see if I can find it. Let me see. All right, I can't find it, but roughly paraphrasing, basically when Esau beat down comes upon him, the scriptures say, you know, shall you think yourself to be called God then? You know, roughly paraphrasing. Anybody listen, they can drop that precept in the comment section. It says, verse 5, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Right? So that's exactly what we're doing. The spirit of his mouth is whom? The prophets. I had a precept here. A good precept I got from the elder brother out of Vegas. Haven't said that brother's name too many times to remember it, you know, but I don't want to try to butcher it. It's Rock to you know, the elder brother out of Vegas. He does good videos. So anyway, let me see. Yeah, Hosea 12 and 10. I'll grab it real quick. Because the spirit of the Lord's mouth is the prophets. Hosea 12 and 10. It says, I have also spoken by the prophets. Number 3 is 9. It says, and I that am the Lord Yahweh. See, the Lord there is all caps. That's the Lord's name, Yahweh. Thy power from the land of Egypt will yet make thee to dwell in tabernacles as in the days of the solemn feast. It says, I have also spoken by the prophets. See, so the Lord speaks by the prophets, right? So we're back now and we're speaking. So these are the Lords of Yahweh, right? And it says, I have also spoken by the prophets and have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So we're back now doing the Lord's work, right? The scripture said, you love me, feed my sheep. That's what we're doing. We're also prophesying into the nations of their judgment that's to come. So let me see where I was at. Oh, it was a man of lowliness, right? It says, verse 8, 2 Thessalonians 2:8, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Right. So right now they're getting the spiritual warfare given to them, right? The words. They're getting those words sent to them, you know. Is what is it? 2 Corinthians 10. Apostle Hart said it today in his live show. 2 Corinthians 10:3, it says, for though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh, for the weapons of our wherefore are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing it in captivity every thought to the obedience of Yahweh Shai. Right, so we're doing that through the words, right, of the Lord Yahweh. The scripture says, if any man speak, I'm going to speak of the oracles of Yahweh by Yahweh Shai, right? That's exactly what we're doing. So right now he's getting that spiritual word given to him, and then pretty soon Yahweh Shai is going to come and give him that physical, right? With which is a complete beatdown. I think it was 15. Let me see. Second Ezra 15. All right, so let me read this real quick and see if I can find that. All right, so I got it over here. I'll read a little bit of this though, because this is it says 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 5. It says, behold, said the Lord Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, with sword, famine, and death and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Right, and Esau Edom is committing a lot of wickedness. Right, and we're at the time where actually our judgment has completed. Right, so a lot of this is for Esau Edom, because we, the ones that's prophesying, we're going to be safe. Right, we're only gathering the elect. This is what I wanted, Lamentations 4, right? We're only gathering the elect to this word, right, to this ministry. The rest of our people, which are 2/3 of our people, will be destroyed right along with Esau, right? Hey, Esau, this judgment is really for Esau. The curse, let me see if we got that. The people of my curse. This is Isaiah 34. Yeah, so I'm gonna grab this real quick. Isaiah 34:5. It says, what did it say that Yahweh's wrath against the nations, right? Isaiah 34:5 says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven, behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Hey, so Esau's judgment and destruction is here, right? These nuclear missiles was made directly for Esau Edom. But of course, 2/3 of our people are going to get it too. They're not going to be beamed up. The scriptures say the Most High Yahweh has made this world for many, but the world to come for few, right? For few, right? That's why elect of Israel is going to be saved and put into those chariots, right? To escape the judgment that the Most High is about to give these nations. All right, so over here, Lamentations 4:21, it says, rejoice. Let me see if I can grab this in NLT. It says, Lamentations 4:21, are you rejoicing in the land of Uz, O people of Edom? It says, but you too must drink from the cup of the Lord's anger. You too will be stripped naked in your drunkenness, right? So what was the point? Like I got earlier in Isaiah 47, the Lord gave us into the hand of our enemies, right? And they didn't show no mercy, and pretty much we have lived out that judgment, that punishment, right? Through reincarnations over and over and over again, because slavery and all of that. Now we're at the end where Esau Edom is about to get it really bad. It says, oh, beautiful Jerusalem, your punishment will end. You will soon return from exile, but Edom, your punishment is just beginning. Soon your many sins will be exposed. And that's what the time we're in. We're in we're exposing the sins of Esau Edom because he's being revealed, you know? So it's his time. Oh, so I want to grab this. Did I read all of that? Yeah. It says, I'll read a little bit more. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 7. Therefore said the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Hey, they've been wicked for a long ass time. You know, these tunnels underground with bloody beds, right? Diddy cases, Epstein Islands, all of that stuff pretty much was like hush hush. You know, you might hear conspiracy on it or whatever the case may be, but now it's right there all in Front Street, right? And Esau is doing what he always do, is pushing the blame on somebody else, because really and truly they control the world. They can make it a good place or a bad place, but you know, you can't teach Esau righteousness. He's going to continue to be wicked. So anyway, he put this on our people, right? He pushed this stuff on our people. It says, I will hold my tongue no more as touching their wickedness, which they profanely commit. Neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually. And you know, not to get too vulgar or whatever, but that's exactly how Esau get down. The innocents, you know, of children and things like that, right? Even a straight male, right? Same thing he was doing in slavery. You know, it's devil's wicked. It says, and therefore said the Lord Yahweh, I will surely avenge them and receive unto me all the innocent blood from among them. Yeah, you know. So anyway, let me grab this 16. This 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse, I started 8. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just get it from the top. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 1. It says, woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia, woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. It says, gird up yourselves with clothes of sack and hair. Was it cloth? Bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. See, a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? Right. So there's no golden age. There's no golden dome. There's no making the deal, working things out, talking, ceasefiring. None of that is going to save Babylon the Great. It says, may any man drive away an hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire and stubble when it hath begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai sent the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? It says, a fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord Yahweh shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? Right, so that's that physical. The Lord is bringing all these things for the physical for Esau Edom. All of this stuff, right, is going to affect him. Right, he thinks he's in control now, but once the Lord, you know, unleash these things at a greater, you know, amount, is over for Esau. And then ultimately, what that arrow, that archer, is those nuclear missiles. See, verse 12 says, the earth quaketh, and the foundation thereof, the sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord Yahweh, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. That's talking about America, Babylon the Great. Total obliteration. Like Nero says. He like using the word obliterate. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Right? Israel is burning right now on fire. Right? Lord Yahushua said he's come to set fire upon earth, and he wish it was already burning. Right? And it is. It says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. So that man of sin, right? So 2 Thessalonians 20, it says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord Yahweh shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, for all power and signs and lying wonders. Yeah, that's all he do. Lie, lie, false pseudoscience, you know. It says, and will all deceivableness of unrighteousness, and them that perish because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. See, that's the point. We know there's going to be some of us individuals that's not going to receive the love of the truth, right? And I don't want to be a part of that number at all, right? I'm talking about 2/3 of our people. Right? Yeah, hey, I'll continue on because, hey, Jacob's trouble, let me see. It says, and for this cause, Yahweh shall send them strong delusion that they should believe the lie. Right. So when the prophets come and telling you, talking about, this is the right way, walk ye in it, and he's like, get the Holy One of Israel far from us. You want nothing to do with him, roughly phrasing scriptures. That's you believing a lie. You believe in the Esau Edom, trusting the Esau Edom. Job, Isaiah 30, it says that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So our people are going to feel it. They're going to be feeling this Jacob trouble, which we're entering into the beginning stages of that. It says, yeah, so that's it on that. So so the Most High says, yet will I not leave thee wholly unpunished. So our people are gonna get that Jacob trouble, and I grab that a little bit of that, Jeremiah 30. It says, Jeremiah 30:4, and these are the words that the Lord Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus said the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling and of fear, and not of peace. It says, ask ye now and see whether a man do travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. It says, the last of that day is great, so that none is like it. It's even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. The he that shall be saved out of it is the elect of the Israelites. Right? So that's the time we're entering into, Jacob's trouble. All right, this is Job 18. And I just wanted to, prophesy against this devil. Job 18:5. It says, yet the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. Right? That's why Trump now is talking about we should have never been here. And he was even videos and things like that. From what I know, Israel has, the least of the flock has always been trying to draw out Babylon the Great to that Middle East. Trump was there before, and let me see if I can find that. All right, play a little bit of this.
It was a mistake. The war in Iraq.
See that? The first thing he said.
It was a mistake. The war in Iraq, we spent $2 trillion, thousands of lives. We don't even have it. Iran is taking over Iraq with the second largest oil reserves in the world. Obviously, it was a mistake. So George Bush made a mistake. We can make mistakes, but that one was a beauty. We should have never been in Iraq. We have destabilized the Middle East.
But so you still think he should be impeached?
It's my turn. You do whatever you want. You call it whatever you want. I want to tell you, they lied. Okay. They said there were weapons of mass destruction. There were none, and they knew there were none. There were no weapons of mass destruction.
All right.
All right, so this is the same thing they're doing now. Lord willing, you heard that because it's pretty low, on my end. So, Trump is feeling it. Job 18:7, it says, the steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. So their own counsel is casting down, and Trump feels it, right? But he's not in control. They're trying to go into Iran. And Iran is saying there's no weapons of mass destruction, whether they do or whether they don't, right? But in the day, before they didn't have none. And they got some now is because their own counsel fucked them up. Even Trump did something where, they had an agreement with Iran and then they stopped the agreement, because they're not smart no more. The Most High is taking their wisdom. It says, for he is cast into a net by his own feet and he walketh upon a snare. See, it's over for Babylon, bro. Every nation, all the nations are saying that. These same people that Babylon was over is saying it's over for Babylon. It says the jinn shall take him by the hill and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground and a trap for him in the way. Terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. One of those terrors is the men of the Lord, the prophets. Waking up, sometimes we can't sleep. Satan fucking with us. We wake up, do a video, whatnot. Brothers, might have a longer day at work because Satan upset. So, they got a break or whatever. They make a video all times of the day. All right, this devil can't even think straight no more. It says, terror shall make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten and destruction shall be ready at his side. It shall devour the strength of his skin. Even the firstborn of death shall devour his strength. The firstborn of death is talking about Yahushua. Yahushua is coming with all power and glory to destroy these devils, right? And put them into slavery, subjection. It says his confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle and it shall bring him to the king of terrors. It shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered upon his habitation. What is it? Hey, nuclear missiles. Nuclear missiles, just like Sodom and Gomorrah. The nuclear missiles about to come back and be a lake of fire for a period of time here in America. And then after that, it'll be desert creatures dwelling in this place, Babylon the Great. It says his root shall be dried up beneath and above shall his branch be cut off. His remembrance shall perish from the earth and he shall have no name in the streets. Why is that? Look at this. Look at Psalms 49 and 11. Because he think he will have a name forever and ever and ever. Psalms 49:11 says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Well, it's prophesied right here that ain't gonna happen no more, my boy. It says, it shall dwell in his tabernacle because it is none of his. Brimstone shall be scattered. Where was that? Here, 17. It says his remembrance shall perish from the earth and he shall have no name in the street. Obadiah 1:18. Edom will be humble. We got a whole Edom. Esau, the so-called white man. It says, Obadiah 1:18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, have spoken it. So ultimately, Esau even will be done away with, completely done away with, right, by fire. It says, he shall be driven from light into darkness and chased out of the world. Job 18:18. Job 18:19 says, he shall neither have son nor nephew among his people, nor any remaining in his dwellings. That day, the day that come after him shall be astonished at his day, as they that went before were affrighted. Surely such are the dwellings of the wicked, and this is the place of him that knoweth not Yahweh. See, if you don't know Yahweh, Yah's going to be completely destroyed. Can you grab this NLT? And Esau Edom act like Yahweh don't exist, talking about they is God. It says Job 18:20. People in the west are appalled at their fate. People in the east are horrified. They will say this was the home of a wicked person, the place of one who rejected Yahweh. Yeah. Let me see if I can get that real quick. Merchants. Hang on, far off. So 18. Babylon is falling. Nope. Lament for Babylon. All right. Revelations 18:9. It says, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." Right? So, hey, they're going to know it's the Lord. And at the same time, they have lived off Babylon and Greek because America is a consumer country. We consume a lot of shit, like I said it earlier. And even the people is happy to do business here because the people buy, right? It's the people, the everyday regular American buying all the stuff. It says, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. It says, standing afar off for the fear of her torment." See, saying, "Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come." It says, "And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buy their merchandise anymore." Right, so no one's gonna be able to buy, all their stuff because America buys it, but America is about to be destroyed. But the rest of the nations, as you can see, they're gonna be good and okay for the most part, right? They might get hit here and there, but America will be wholly destroyed. It says, "The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and fine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off with a fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen, and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. Hey, the scriptures say riches profit not in the day of wrath. Right? The gold, you can't build yourself a gold tower or a gold bunker and hide from the nuclear missiles. Right? It says, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster and all the company and ships and sailors and as many as trade by sea stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? Right? They can't go nowhere else. And that's why Trump, Trump trying to go around China right now. He's trying to do some trading with India. But China, is the main one that be making all the stuff. I hardly ever look at something and say made in India. Most things I pick up, let me see. Let me pick this thing up right here. Let me see what it says. I don't think I ever checked, but I'm pretty sure, hey, it got Chinese letters already on it. I ain't got to look. I don't got to find made in China. Oh, there it is. Right there, made in China. I know y'all can't see it. Hey, pick up something next to you and you tell me what it says. It says, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For 1 hour she made desolate. So in 1 hour, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah going to come destroy this place, right? With fire beams, laser chariots, and nuclear missiles. You grab a little bit of that. Second Edges 13. It says, Second Edges chapter 13, verse 1. It says, And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea that it moved all the waves thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Right? This is talking about Yahushua coming. It says, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice, like as the earth felleth when it filled the fire. Now these are talking about the laser beams, right? Coming forth off these chariots. Let's see if I can grab this real quick. I believe it's 59. No. It was Habakkuk 3. It says a prayer of Habakkuk, the prophet upon Siganoth, Habakkuk 3:1. It says, O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid, O Lord Yahweh. Revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known and rapidly remember mercy. I got this in NLT. All right, so Habakkuk 3:1 NLT, it says, This prayer was sung by the prophet Habakkuk It says, I have heard all about you, Lord Yahweh. I am filled with awe by your amazing works. In this time of our deep need, help us again as you did in years gone by, right? We need help, right? Because Esau, Edom is coming down with great wrath, right? Not showing mercy. And pretty much our punishment is up. It's his time to be picked up and carted away into some prison place. You know, the scriptures say that, you know, roughly paraphrasing, they shall be rounded up and put into a pit. And after many days, they shall be visited, you know, once we get these devils and put them into captivity. It says, I have heard all about you, Lord Yahweh. I am filled with awe by your amazing works. In this time of our deep need, help us again as you did in years gone by. And in your anger, remember your mercy. I see Yahweh moving across the deserts from Edom. The Holy One coming from Mount Paran, his brilliant splendor fills the heavens, and the earth is filled with his praise, right? So he's coming through with chariots, right? The angels, the host of angels, and himself, the archangel. Let me grab it. Dang, 12. Time of the end. It says, and at that time shall Michael, so this is the archangel Michael, stand up, the great prince, which stand up for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book. Right. So just talking about, you know, of course, Yahweh coming, but the archangel Michael going to be there too during the time of Jacob's trouble. And basically, that's why we say these things are going to pretty much be all in the same time, right? The great testing. You have the implementation of the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast, right? And then you have Jacob's trouble, and you have World War III. So pretty much all this stuff is going to be happening, you know, at the same time. People getting chipped up, people not being able to get food, you know, famines and stuff, animals all over the place trying to find food, eating people, you know, all of that. Jacob's trouble, right? So Michael's going to be there. It says, where I was at? Oh, Habakkuk. It says, I see Yahweh moving across the deserts from Edom, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. It says, the Holy One coming from Mount Paran, his brilliant splendor fills the heavens, and the earth is filled with his praise. His coming is as brilliant as the sunrise, rays of light flash from his hands, where his awesome power is hidden. Where it says pestilence and marches before him, plagues follow close behind. So all this stuff is coming, right? Pestilence, famines, plagues, which pestilence and plagues, same thing, you know. So the rays of light flash from his hands, where his awesome power is hidden, right? So that's Yahweh coming. It's coming forth from these chariots, shooting forth these laser beams. Verse 5 in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 5, it says, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. It says, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew upon him. But I will have seen the region or place where out the hill was graven, and I could not. So that's the fathership, right? That mountain, that great mountain will be the fathership that Yahweh Shai is going to use and to put the whole select in, right? And save us. Verse 8 says, and after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid and yet thirst fight. You know, so the people that's going to be gathered together is going to be the nations of the people, right? Over in the Levant region where World War III will take place, right? Over there by the land of Israel. They're going to be gathering together and they're going to fight the coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai and the angels, right? And try to destroy Yahweh Shai and the angels, which they won't. And it's prophesied here that they won't. It says, and lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue cast of sparks and tempest. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up everyone, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Right, so Yahweh is going to destroy these people, you know, when he comes back with these chariots. We grab this, probably last precept right here, Matthew 24. The glorious return. It says Matthew 24:29. It says immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light and the stars shall fall from heaven and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken, right? Because of what? These nuclear missiles. It says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, right? These are talking about the chariots, you know. It says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect. So it's all about the elect, right? That's why we call ourselves the hopeful elect. And it seems that it's catching on, right, to these other camps, you know. It says, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other, right? And this is great, you know. So Lord willing, you edify from the lesson. I'll say shalom to those elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.